Thank you very much. It's a privilege to speak to you all here today. My name is John Sherlock. Just before I start, I'm just a forest owner like the rest of you. There's an awful lot more qualified people than me here to speak. But anyway, I'll go through what our journey has been. We're a forest owners group here in Loudmead, some people from Cavan as well. We've 62 members at present. We started in March, I think 2013. Actually, it was Teagasc who really initiated the whole process of starting an owners group. So we started an owners group, got up and running. Started with about 30 members and have progressed since. Now, we've run a number of events. We've been toured around the country, information gathering, this whole thing of, I suppose, been what an owners group is about. And as we visit a number of sawmills, producers, etc., the whole issue of certification came up. So then we started looking at what is certification. So basically, as I've spoken previously, 80% of our timber is exported in sawn form to the UK. So to sell timber in the UK, you have to be certified. The timber has to be certified that it comes from a well-managed, renewable source. So the British consumer demands this now. You look at a piece of paper that you buy, on the back if there's FSC, PEFC. So you will not get into the UK market with sawn timber unless it's certified. So that's the reality of it. So here we are now. We have the private market going to exceed Quilter's share in the next couple of years. And I would say 96% of Irish forests, private forests, are not certified. So we looked at this, we thought, we have to try and do something, because if we don't, events are going to overtake us. So we looked at maybe doing a pilot project, and a small number of our group doing the whole certification thing, see how long it took, see how much it cost, because nobody really knows any of this, least of all us. So we looked at accessing some funds to do it. So we held a meeting, a committee meeting, and we all decided, right, we're going to give this a shot. So we formed a subgroup within the group to look at the whole certification thing. So myself and another 2 members did a bit of research. We approached PEFC, who seemed to be the most on the ground at the time people. We spoke to them, looked at it. We also approached them, the certification, the auditors, which would be the Soil Association in the UK. We also looked at maybe approaching auditors from the continent. They didn't seem to work out. So we also then looked at saying, how are we going to fund this? Because we looked, when we got into it, the figures were beginning to add up, you know what I mean, what we'd need even for 10. So we thought about going for leader funding. They didn't seem to be blown our way. So somebody said, what about the knowledge transfer fund? There's been funds allocated by the department for this. So we did a proposal, put it together. I will say one of our committee members, Des, who really put his heart and soul into it. Now, Des is a professional, retired professional, and you'd know by the way he did it, he had one of these proposals before. So the proposal went in, and Carl Goggins looked at it, and he was quite happy with it. Obviously he had issues. Then we got into it, the whole bones of it, and as we got into it, then we realised how big of a project it was. It was a massive project. So we hadn't the expertise, we hadn't the time, and we hadn't the personnel to do this. So the department then decided to take over the project. So they would fund it and decide the whole project. So we were quite happy. So we ended up in the raw material, if you like, for the whole project. So we were just the 12 forest owners. So we were quite happy with that, because none of us really wanted to get into all this. So then they decided to put the whole project out for tender, so that everybody could have, all these groups could have a chance to quote for running the project. So The tender was set out in Boswell's Hotel. It was announced. A load of people attended. It was really, really, really a lively discussion on what the project entailed. And I'll tell you this much, now that we're that far in, thank Jesus that we didn't take it on ourselves, because we'd have ran away from it. Now, there's no problem. So anyway, the tender was put out. So then we had a launch night then in Navan. So, at the time in Boswell's Hotel, it was decided that a group from Cork would be invited to do a similar project in us, to give it a geographic spread across the country. So we were quite happy with that. We didn't care once we were getting our project funded. We didn't care who was coming along for the ride, as they say. So anyway, we had our launch night in Navan. It was one of the best attended nights we ever had. Carl Goggins came down and a man from Creech came and sort of explained as much as he could about the process. Now, I don't know whether it was that people were interested in certification, or it was the thought that they were going to get the forest certified virtually for free. But anyway, everybody appeared. So we asked then for 12 members to apply. So we threw it open to everybody. So loads of people applied. So then it was decided then by the department who was going to administer this whole project. So Commercial Forest Services, Donald Whelan's company there, were selected there to run the whole project. And all I can say is we've had great work done with Donald. Now I have to commend him. Definitely when I see the amount of work, I'm delighted they took it over. So then Donald has got the forestry company then to help him with the whole groundwork of the project. So anyway, that was decided. So we were this far. So then we come to the actual need, what we needed to do. So the 12 of us had to form a legal entity. So in other words, because there's 12 people in this group, this means we're all certified as one. That means that if one of us fails, then we all fail. So this is something that really sort of shook us, because really then we're only as good as the weakest member. So if there's one lad, excuse the language, fucks up, we're all out the door. So this then brought us to the legal entity. So this was a little bit of a tricky one, because what's the definition of a legal entity? So a legal entity could be a partnership, a co-op, or a limited company. So our funds, we had undertook to form the legal entity ourselves. So we had to fund it. So we looked at a limited company. A limited company was going to be okay, but if somebody didn't work out and they were a shareholder in a limited company, there'd be a wild handling, as the northern man would say, trying to get them off the team. So what we looked at, and we took a bit of a legal advice, and the legal advice was a club. So we went with a club. We approached Donald, and Donald went to the UK, who would be administering, and they said, seems like a good idea. First of all, it was a legal entity. We had to have a constitution, obviously. In that constitution, we adopted the rules of FSC and the project. And so we were happy to do it. So we have formed a club, so we have, and it is a legal entity. So then we had to go and get a proper constitution drawn up. Now we have a constitution in the North East Forestry Group, but just to have everybody squared off that this wasn't going to come back at us, we got legal advice. So all you can imagine, there's the to and fro, like with us, was unbelievable. So anyway, legal entity is up and running. We're happy. We have an account opened. Everybody has signed up to it. So as far as we are concerned, the thing is rolling. So then Linda Coughlin, who was the forestry company's representative, who was looking after doing the groundwork on our 12 plantations. So she came and went through all our plantations with us. So Linda spent, with me, she spent from 10 a.m. in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. Now, She's made of some stuff, that woman, because there wasn't a bit of the forest she didn't look at. Now, she did plots, she did measurements, she spotted wildlife, she was looking at the impact of fauna and of water quality, stuff that I'd never look at, ever. Really wouldn't have any care, because all I was looking at was trees and saying, I was thinking she was going to be talking all about my trees, but she was looking at the impact that operations would have on the forest. So, did all the measurements, and actually I found it fantastic now. Really, I thought I was blown away by it, as did all the other 10, because we were involved in the timber measurement. So we were there for the day, we were looking at her trees, we were learning as we were asking questions, and she was more than happy to spend time with us. It was great. I really, now, because I got to learn a lot more about the forest. So Linda did all that. So then Linda went off to do the forest management plan. So then we had a stakeholders meeting then held in Portlaoise, which obviously the Department of Forest and Marine, Teagasc were there, Donald was there, the forestry company there was there, and representatives of 2 groups. So then we had a chat about how it all went, how we were getting on so far. A couple of things came up. Linda was saying she pre-chose the plots that we were going to do the measurements in. And in hindsight, they mightn't have been in the handiest places to get them. So she was saying if she was doing it again, she would probably do a pre-visit to see where could she get, and even if it meant getting extra inspection parts cut in, it'd be done. So that was one of the things that came up. Then Linda showed us the forest management plan, and it was that thick. Now, she did 2 of them because obviously there were 2 samples. It was honest to God that thick. Now, thank God Linda did a summary at the end, or I'd still be there reading it, so I would. So she did a summary that the normal people could read and understand, and it was great. I just had a quick look at one, and it was absolutely fantastic. And she also, as a bonus, she input the 3 measurements into Coford's dynamic yield model. So, as a benefit to us now, us 12 now have a roadmap for our forest going forward. So she has, by doing her measurements, she said, I recommend you thin at such and such a year. So she has all that information done for us, which is fantastic. So with a little bit more input into that yield model, we could see the potential value of our finished crop. So this now is, and then you could put in, if you didn't thin, so you'd see. So immediately pounds, shillings and pence. Imagine you've been there with that forest for 25 years and you're coming to fruition and you're saying, this is going to be nice. 10 acres is going to give me €182,000. And you ring a couple of sawmills and you say, I have 10 acres. What are you giving? Maybe €70. Is the forest certified? No. Right. Well, we're full at the minute of certified timber. So you ring a couple more and you keep getting this this knock back. And then some lad says to you, we'll take it off you, but we'll only be able to give you pallet wood price. €54 a tonne. So you've lost €41,000 on your final sale of your sawlog, which is €4,100 a hectare. So now this is a serious issue for a forest owner. Now it mightn't pan out like that, but just think, 41,000. This is the only term you're going to get at this crop. Because none of us is going to live longer than that unless the cryogenically freeze us and stick us in a cell somewhere. So it's not like corn. We're not going to get another twist at it. This is the only chance we're going to get. So this is really now what focused us on it. So we are looking at saying, let's have our crop ready for sale and let's have a quality crop. So anyway, that was it. So we moved on then. So we had a public consultation. the subject of public consultation, came up. So we're going through the public consultation process, which I see is a part of the new forest management plan. So basically, and this is my understanding on it, so I stand to be corrected again. If you're going for FSC certification, you have to let the affected parties know that you're going for it. So we have clarified this for ourselves. So from my own plantation, we get a public notice that we put up, similar to a planning notice, to say this forest is going for public certificate or for FSC certification. If you want to see the details, contact this number. So it's a UK number, so happy days, let them ring the UK. So anyway, I have a couple of people adjoining the forest. So I notified them. Well, actually I didn't know, put their name down so they can be notified that this is going for FSC certification. So in other words, you're notifying anybody that could be affected by this process. So, of course, when we 12 members heard about this, we really got concerned, because we're thinking, Jesus, there'll be lads coming out of the woodwork, because you know Ireland, anybody wants to object, they'll stick it to you. So basically, unless they can contact the company that's administering the project, they can voice their concerns, but unless it's directly affecting them in a negative manner, they can't do anything about it. So just because they don't like you, that doesn't matter for them. So anyway, happy days. So it really settled us on the public consultation one, because we were all saying, God, Jesus, this is going to be a rat's nest of torture. So it was, and so we're happy enough. We're going through that at the minute. So we really don't know what way that's going to pan out, but we'll find out, and it's a journey. So when that's done, we're now working towards our pre-audit inspection. So this is like, I suppose, it'd be like having a lad giving you a spin round in your car before your driving test to see how you're driving right. So these people from the UK are coming over to do a pre-audit inspection on all our forests, our paperwork, etc., etc. So if they see cracks in our process, they'll alert Donal, and Donal will fire us up to get it all straightened out. So then, once that's done, so that obviously they're going to find things. I've never seen an audit yet that hasn't found something, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be in business. So anyway, they're going to do the public consultation. So that should be done in September. So then, when all that is gathered in and sorted, then we will have our audit in January. So fingers crossed, we'll then be certified. So that'll mean then the 12 of us, our club, will get us an FSC certification. So we will be able to sell our timber to anybody as certified timber. The only caveat is that we have to sell it under the FSC rules. Now, FSC, to my understanding, requires a little bit more, or probably a good bit more documentation and trails of where the timber is sold. So that's one of the things. But the way I look at it is, we're going to be able to sell our timber anywhere. And if our timber is FSC certified, then we can sell it to a sawmill who can sell it on as FSC certified. And the whole purpose, I suppose, of this pilot scheme was for everybody to see how much an acre it was going to cost to certify a forest. Because none of us really know. We don't know even still. So we'd see which would be the economical forests. Would a small forest be not worthwhile doing? So the fact that you have a group, hopefully the larger plantations would help the smaller plantations in cost, to spread the cost. So the cost in certifying your forest, to me, seems to be, first of all, the administration. There's a lot of administration, and that needs to be done by a professional company. A forest owners group won't do it. No way. You also need to have a forest company on board, on the ground, doing your audits. And then you have to pay an auditor to come from the UK. Now, that is the way it is. There is nobody in Ireland qualified, well, maybe not qualified, certified to give the audit. So they come and they inspect everything, because it's an international, FSC is an international organisation. So if you buy timber from Brazil and it's FSC certified, they're going through the same process as we are here. So we will then have our timber available to sell. So to just give you an example, we sell firewood. I have a company that we do firewood. And this year, you cannot sell firewood into Aldi, Lidl or Tesco unless it's either PEFC or FSC certified. So that's just pulpwood that we have an alternative market from for going for chipping, say with Creelcha or Wood Energy. And that market now has to be certified timber. So I know we don't actually sell to the larger multiples, but I know one particular firewood producer who does nothing, only process timber for the multiples. And he has gone for FSC certification to be able to sell to the multiples. Now that means, when you go back a step, he can only buy his pulpwood from somebody who's FSC certified. So who's FSC certified in Ireland? Creelcha. So we have lost all the market for all our timber, pulpwood for the multiples this year. Just like that. Just happened, and that's the way it is. So this is sort of where you have to think. It's not that they won't take it, it's just where's your market going to come from? So I suppose the thing that we've learned so far is a legal entity has to be formed. You have to be committed to the whole process. There's a lot more to it than we thought. Definitely an awful lot more to it than we thought. But I suppose on the positive side is it has got us involved in our forest in a way that we probably wouldn't have. Because we I suppose we would have tended to rely on our forester to do all this. So we would, in essence, if you were putting in a forest road, nothing smart, generally you get a forester to do it, you sign off, happy days, everybody does it. Whereas now we got into the whole managing of our forest. And I suppose certification in a way is, even if you managed your forest in the best possible way, how would the person that buys the saw log off you in the end know that you weren't polluting a river, that you weren't not paying a lad for doing work, that all these things weren't been done? They wouldn't know. So you need some quality mark. So the quality mark is FSC or PEFC. So when they buy that piece of timber or that breadboard or that piece of paper, that they know that the timber that they bought came from a carefully, renewably managed forest, that it was been looked after. So that's why I suppose FSC is there. We haven't a choice, as far as I'm concerned, we haven't a choice. If we don't get our firewood certified or our timber certified, we won't have a market. So that's as much as I can say about it. As I say, this is all only my interpretation, because I'm just a forest owner like the rest of you. So it's only what we've learned so far. We've another bit to go on it, and hopefully, and I have to say I thank the department for sponsoring us. They really haven't. They've thrown all the resources we've needed at it, and Teagasc have, and Donald has now, and the forestry company. We haven't been lacking in help, and of course the 12 members that have taken in the project. Like Linda said, when she did the forest inspection, she said everybody was more than helpful to her. So that's it. Thanks very much.